What are you doing?
Did you hear that noise?
You mean a doorbell?
A doorbell? Why would our doorbell ring?
Probably because somebody rang it, idiot.
You mean there's somebody at our door? Ew!
You're right, it is weird you'd have a visitor, friendless loser.
Hey, I talk to a lot of people.
Who? Who do you talk to?
Maybe it's for a package. Did you order something? Where did she go?
Guys!
How did you do that?
It came. Only the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wait, this is the life-changing thing you paid money for.
That's it?
What do you mean that's it? Look at it!
So, you'd spend... Turn that stupid thing off! You'd spend money on this thing, but not on a trip to turn me back to normal.
Excuse me, I do not like the insinuation that I waste money.
That's it. If you won't bankroll the trip, I'm starting an OnlyFans.
Okay, enjoy your oscillating fans or whatever it is that you said. Oh, you left. Oh, Fatal Frame, you deliciously dark series. I've waited way too long to talk about you. Fatal Frame, as it's known in the US and Canada, or Project Zero, as it's known in Europe, or just Zero in Japan, is a 2001 Tecmo release on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. What made this horror game stand out among others was the interesting weapon used throughout the series. There's no melee weapon or gun or superpowers unless you count clairvoyance. Your weapon is a special camera known as the Camera Obscura. Yeah, you can't really kill them since they're, like, already dead, but you can temporarily send them to a timeout before they hunt you down and start chasing you again. Which can get a little annoying when you're running low on film and you keep running into the exact same ghost over and over again. Blinded, broken neck. The creator Makoto Shibata was inspired by nightmares he had in the past, along with encounters he felt were supernatural. It was decided early on that the game would be set in the 80s, before any kind of GPS or cell phone technology was available to add to the isolation feeling they were going for. His team took great pains to make the game as frightening as possible. They obsessively tweaked the lighting and shading to create a beautiful sense of despair and dread. All of this created a gorgeous and haunting, atmosphere that is topped by, in my opinion, one of the best horror game soundtracks ever composed by the brilliant Shigekio Ukuda. And my god, did it work, because this game was terrifying to me as a kid. I think at the time I was only able to handle around a half hour to an hour of gameplay before I had to take a break. Wait, what does this say? Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that. I looked into it, and the true story, quote-unquote, was an alleged incident that involved a bungle sacrificial ritual that occurred possibly around the late 1800s, early 1900s. Said incident is nearly identical to the ritual and family butchering in Fatal Frame. And after some digging, I think I can conclude that it's fake. I mean, I could not find a single Japanese source or a contemporary writing, so I will be generous and just call it an urban legend. All the sources I could find were from Western authors, usually gaming sites, and were written after Fatal Frame was released. I'm not saying this kind of stuff never happened, because it totally did. I'm just saying that this particular incident probably did not happen. The most telling is the Japanese release omits the based on a true storyline, leading to speculation that the game developers themselves started the rumor. I don't think they would have went that far. It kind of feels like they just put that on the cover to drum up interest with Western audiences, and then Western audiences kind of took it and ran with it, which ironically did kind of turn it into an urban legend. Fatal Frame opens with a voiceover by our main protagonist, Miku, explaining she and her brother, Mafuyu, can see and hear things no one else can.
My big brother. He was so sweet and kind.
My big brother. Alright, I'm not gonna make fun of the voice acting in this game a lot. We all know a lot of the earlier games of the bygone era had less than stellar voice work.
This is the final battle!
Get out of my way. What?
It is what it is, and making fun of old voice acting was kind of done to death by previous creators. By the way, Miku's voice actress is Rumiko Varnes. Any fan of the Clock Tower series would recognize her as the voice of Jennifer in the 1996 Clock Tower entry. That entire cast deserves an award for that voice acting.
Helen! Are you alright?
Oh, Jennifer. Oh.
Are you alright?
Yes, but my head hurts a little.
Absolutely beautiful.
He was so sweet and kind. He was the only one I could open up to about these visions.
Huh. Weird. It kind of sounds like she's in love with her brother and wants to have a child with him, but that would be really stupid just to add out of nowhere and completely ruin her long-established character.
So this is Himuro Mansion.
Mafuyu is a 21-year-old aspiring folklorist and came to the mansion to find his mentor, a famous novelist named Gensei Takamine, and his two employees, Tomei, his assistant, and Koji, his editor. The group had come to the mansion to research a book Gensei was writing about the horrors that took place within the walls. However, weeks passed without sight or word from any of them. Look, I know the narration says that Mafuyu feels indebted to Mr. Takamine, but Mafuyu has ghost-seeing abilities. Maybe someone like that shouldn't be so quick to chase a man who willingly walked into a literal haunted mansion. There is no jaunty music played in this haunted mansion, oh no, just death and despair and nightmares come to life. While this part is basically a tutorial on how the camera is used, it's still nonetheless nerve-wracking. Each step you take, the floorboards creak, you see glimpses of ghosts walking in the distance or peering down at you, and the music and atmosphere just punches you in the gut right out the door. Mafuyu picks up a book he believes is Mr. Takamine's and has a vision of when the group first arrived at the mansion. That is one of my favorite scenes in this entire game. Like, how terrifying is it that something that massive can move silently? This fella with the rock and drum beat theme song is known as the Bound Man, and is the very first aggressive ghost you come across in the game. He doesn't have much of a backstory from what I could find, but through context clues on his person, he has ropes on his body, meaning he probably fell victim to the main antagonist.
I captured a ghost with this camera. I remember the incident from which I learned of its unique power to capture ghosts.
This candle. I remember I exchanged coin and folding money from a strange merchant. It happened one cloudy day. After this encounter, I guess Mafuyu decided to cut his losses and head back down the rope hallway before the flashback ends.
It's been 2 weeks since I last heard from my brother.
You waited 2 weeks before you went looking for your brother? I think I would have a goddamn panic attack if I couldn't get a hold of my siblings within like 24 hours, but 2 weeks? And look, putting the mansion has murderous ghosts in it aside, it's still a long abandoned, dilapidated building. If the ghosts didn't get him, the house, the elements, or dehydration/starvation certainly would.
It's been 2 weeks since I last heard from my brother, but he left a note that led me to this place.
She even had a note that told her exactly where her brother was going, and she still waited 2 weeks. Was she like, Mafuyu's been gone for like almost 2 weeks, but the season finale of the Beauty and the Beast TV show is premiering, and I don't want to miss it. Seriously, what the hell was up with that show?
I felt as though something was calling me here.
I think you guys are just bad siblings to one another.
My brother was here.
You knew that, Miku! He left a note!
The ropes. There are more ropes now.
I just love how vague and ominous that statement is. It's just, this game is just filled with that.
Did someone just...
Miku finds her brother's camera obscura at the end of the rope hallway, and has a vision of Mafuyu running in fear before the vision stops and she gets a fright. Miku also finds Mafuyu's notebook, where we learn a little bit more about the Himuro mansion, the land, and the owners. The mansion sat on land where an unspecified Shinto ritual took place. The last master of the Himuro family butchered everyone in the household, seemingly out of nowhere. The notebook also mentions a family who moved into the mansion much later, who vanished without a trace, resulting in the townsfolk to stay away from the area. Mafuyu wondered in his writings if that was why no one knew exactly where the mansion was located, or what the mysterious Shinto ritual was, since everyone who would have known was dead and no local would dare to traverse the area to investigate. He's actually not that far off, because it's around here that we find out that the mansion was indeed built over an ancient shrine used for an unknown ritual. This ritual was such a deep, dark secret, everyone involved were forbid to even speak its name out loud. After the Himuro family calamity, as it's known to be called, bodies of people who appeared to have gone through a cruel sacrifice were discovered around the area. Their limbs and head were torn from their bodies and left to rot. Miku continues on, following the same path her brother did. At the top of the stairs, she finds a locked door with an odd noise coming from the other side. Without a way to move forward, Miku returns to the first floor, seeing the spirit of Koji, one of Mr. Takamine's employees. I mean, that would be kind of a dick move, Miku. Miku does what the ghost girl gestured her to do, and takes a picture of the screen against the wall, which reveals a door hidden behind a heavy screen.
Just like in the photo.
That woman in a kimono is coming.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
I can't find the key.
Can we circle back to the woman in white kimono heading our direction, maybe? Miku enters a room and hears what sounds like a demon Furby running out of battery juice coming from the closet. Okay, we can talk shit about him hiding in the most obvious location with her right on his heels, but like, really, what else was he gonna do? Fist fighter? What could anyone do when being chased down by a rageful ghost with hundreds of arms coming out of her back? And she can go through walls and doors. Wow, she really was just messing with Koji by slowly opening a door she could have just phased through, wasn't she? Now, I should have mentioned this before, because I'm sure your thought has been this whole time, why haven't they just run out the front door or climb out a window? Why not just leave? Well, the answer is, they can't. The moment they crossed the threshold of the Himuro mansion, they were trapped there. There is no walking out the front door, and even if you managed to somehow make it outside of the mansion, you'd wander through darkness until thirst, hunger, or something lurking under the curtain of the void found you.
What was that?
After the cutscene, you can listen to a tape recording of Koji recounting that on September 9th, himself, Tomei, and Mr. Takamine arrived in the town near Himuro Mansion, but were unable to locate it on their map. They asked a few locals for the location, to which they obliged and told them, and then warned them against going there. I don't know, maybe it's me, but if I lived in a town where the outskirts had a very dangerous location and I had tourists come asking me about it, I would either lie and say it was burned down years ago, or say it's off limits and guarded by really aggressive guard dogs that attack on sight. You know, just anything to keep them out of the woods. Miku continues to follow the ghost of Koji until he leads her to a dead end where he attacks while begging for help. Koji Ogata was a 32-year-old man who worked for Mr. Takamine, and look where it got him, aspiring editors, look where it got him. Sorry, that really is all there is to Koji's backstory, which is kind of funny that there are ghosts that you come across like once or twice the entire game, and they'll have a more broad backstory than Koji. You know, another nice touch I didn't immediately notice in this game is all of the ghosts have their own theme songs. Sometimes you'll hear the theme before seeing the ghost, which can help on occasion when determining who you're dealing with. Once Koji is defeated, he leaves another tape. On this tape, he recounts how the group chose to stay the night at the mansion as darkness had fallen and they believed it would be dangerous trying to walk down the mountain path in the dark. It's chilling to hear how calm Koji's voice is while talking about their first night because he has no idea what's headed his way.
Let me out of this mansion!
It makes you wonder, at what point did they realize that they were in serious danger, and how did they try to escape before they were all separated? How long did he wander the mansion alone and petrified before being hunted down and murdered?
It's that person I just saw. The ropes.
When you return to the main area, Miku is startled by someone running up the stairs right next to her, then hearing a door slam shut, so the next logical step is to follow it, cause following a spirit worked out so well last time.
My instincts told me not to. There are rope marks on my body, just like Koji.
September 10th, 10:20 a.m.
At this point, they have been stuck in the mansion less than 24 hours.
We discovered some disturbing photos in a chest of drawers. Could these be the folklorist's children mentioned in Koji's notes?
The folklorist she was referring to was Ryozo Monacata. He's the father of the family who vanished after moving into the mansion years after the calamity.
The photo is quite old and shows some kids playing tag. In the corner of the photo, there's a faint image of a young girl in a white kimono. Her finger is pointed this way, and her eyes look as if she's making some silent accusation.
With nowhere else she can go, Miku descends down the creaky stairs, catching a glimpse of who she thinks is Mafuyu, but... Say hello to Long Arms, and yes, that's his name, and no, it's never explained why he has long arms. He was the father of a previous rope shrine maiden who was successfully sacrificed. It's likely he tried to stop the ritual and save his beloved daughter, but failed and was killed. After his death, he couldn't rest without his daughter, so he wanders the mansion trying to find her. Though this story isn't completely confirmed, so it's more of a fan speculation. After Long Arms is long gone, Miku finds an article about 4 children going missing, leading to superstitious townsfolk to believe ghosts had spirited them away. Another article you find a little later states that one of the 4 children were found alive 3 days later wandering the woods. That girl's parents went missing after she disappeared. The surviving girl is Mikoto, the only child of the folklorist Ryozo Monacata and his wife Yae. So did the little ghost girl dressed in a white kimono who is currently trying to help Miku also try to help the trio? It sounds like Tomei was trying to figure out what the benevolent ghost girl was telling her, but she was being needlessly cryptic. You gotta love that shit, right? Like, look, you want me to help you? You have to bluntly tell me what it is you want. You tell me, hey, I want you to do blank. I need you to do A, B, and C so I can have blank. Maybe it's a ghost rule. They can ask for help, just not directly. Only vague instructions and riddles allowed. On this tape, Tomei reveals that Koji was missing, and despite looking through the entire mansion, they couldn't find him. But the tape catches something kinda creepy in the background.
Could we have already left? He's been saying something about more ropes since we took some photos yesterday.
They have been there for 3.5 days. I think she is way calmer than I would have been. Miku finds herself in an area with a stream and a water wheel. By the water wheel, she finds yet another red tape. Touching it reveals a vision of Tomei's last moments. Dude doesn't even pretend to care about his assistant. He's just like, huh, well, that's weird. No! Hey, our woman with the white kimono and extra arms has a name now.
September 12th, 9 a.m. I found Koji. His head and limbs were severed.
Why was Koji's head and limbs severed from him, but in her death cutscene, she's just strangled? They should have at least broken her neck and limbs if they didn't want to show gore. Like, this game has ghosts stumbling around with a broken neck and their eyes gouged out. It's not like the game was, shying away from graphic imagery. Sure, let's go into a room that has a disembodied baby cry coming from it. We fought everything else, why not a ghost baby? Well, the doll room has no ghost babies, but it does have a diary page from Tomei, who writes her sixth sense is telling her that there are children all around her, yet she can't see them. Oh, and she apparently found a room filled with the severed heads of the victims of the calamity, and they tried to talk to her, but she couldn't understand them. She tucked that in right after the "I sense invisible children" line. It's like the textbook definition of burying the lead. This cutscene and the ghost Miku fights right after would be way creepier had they not used very recognizable stock child laughter. This ghost is known as Crawling Girl. She was friends with Makoto, the folklorist's daughter. Her and a group of friends were playing a game called Demon Tag, which plays kind of like hide and seek. She chose to hide in the doll room, but while in her hiding spot, long arms appeared and dragged her into the wall and to her death. Before you dwell too much on how freaking sad that is, a woman falls from the roof and you're immediately attacked again. I feel like this fight should have been a little later on. We just finished a fight and within 2 minutes we're in another one. In my opinion, it's more annoying than scary, but if it wasn't annoying, it wouldn't be Broken Neck. Broken Neck was a woman who came to the Himuro mansion the day of the infamous ritual. Fans speculate that she saw the head of the Himuro family murdering everybody and chose to take her own life rather than him taking hers in such a brutal fashion. She is, in my opinion, the most obnoxious ghost in this game. You see, to damage a ghost, you have to take a picture of their face, but since Broken Neck's head is kind of, behind her, you have to wait for her to turn around, which she doesn't always do. She also likes to disappear right before attacking, and that can be tricky if she attacks you when her head is hidden. She was also the ghost that I almost always encountered when I was low on health or film or both, so, fun. Thanks, Mr. Takamine. That really clears things up. In this same room, you find Mr. Takamine's notebook that's dated September 14th. Remember, they've been there since the 9th or possibly the 8th, and now Koji and Tomei are dead. It doesn't say much we don't already know. The woman in the white kimono is named Kire, and Koji and Tomei's manner of death are the same as the strangling ritual. This is what all Fatal Frames do. They'll repeat information slightly different in notes and journals and things like that, just to kind of reinforce the story and let you put together gather the timeline yourself. Finally, after following Tomei's spirit across several areas of the mansion, Miku enters a dark and musty room where the floor has sections filled with water with only rotted planks making a makeshift pathway across the room. What exactly was this room supposed to be? I mean, Wikipedia says it's the fish tank room, but I don't see any ghost fish. Now it's time to fight with Tomei, and of course it's not where she died. It has to be in a room that's difficult to navigate. Tomei was 28 years old, and that's yet another side character that has less of a background than some of the random ghosts you encounter. Her and Koji really got the shaft backstory-wise. After Miku defeats Tomei, she drops her last tape, which she didn't date.
Since we met that girl, I've seen many strange visions. All the ghosts in the mansion howl and scream at me. I don't think they'll ever let me out of this mansion. But still, I hope it's just a dream.
Oh my god, this game is so bleak. She didn't even want to go. Look, I like my job okay, but I think we can all agree a paycheck ain't worth getting hunted down and literally torn limb from limb by a rage-filled ghost from the 1800s. Nah, you can mail me my last check from the abyss. Well, that was horribly depressing. It can't possibly get that much darker. Oh good, a woman swinging from a noose tied to a tree.
The children. Where have the children gone?
Ah yes, a devastated mother whose child was stolen and possibly murdered by a long-armed ghost looking for its own child who was stolen and murdered is so overcome by the loss she takes her own life. It's like the ghosts are in competition for who can have the most tragic backstory.
This blinding mask is the key to the door. The altar's got to be behind this door.
You know, I think it's actually a good time to pause the main story here and talk about the family that made the tragic decision to move to Himuro Mansion, because not only does the father have direct ties to the creator of the camera obscura, his daughter has direct ties to Miku and Mafuyu. Ryoza Monacata was a famous folklorist who apprenticed for Shijiro Makubi, who was also a very good friend of Dr. Kunihiko Aso. Dr. Aso is the creator of the camera obscura. I'm not going to get into either man's backstory since Makubi is in Fatal Frame 2 and Dr. Aso is in Fatal Frame 5, and I'll most definitely cover both eventually. Put a pin in that for when I post the video on that game, because towards the end of the series, this is going to start looking like a Rico chart. Monacata met his eventual wife, Yae Kurosawa, during the events of a different ritual that takes place in Fatal Frame 2. Monacata became obsessed with Himuro Mansion after he discovered that it seemed to be the nexus where all local legends originated from. He knew the best way to complete his research was to be surrounded by study material, and what better way to do that than move into the mansion? However, he didn't want to leave his wife and child back at home since Yae was in poor health, so obviously taking her to an abandoned dust and mold covered mansion would solve that, effectively sealing the fate of himself, his family, and any visitor who stepped foot on the property. While Monacata was busy with his studies, his daughter, Makoto, approached him holding an old camera. When asked where she found it, the child told him a girl in a white kimono gave it to her. I'm not sure why he doesn't recognize the camera obscura. I mean, his mentor was best friends with the creator of it. Maybe just like a ghost catching camera never came up in conversation? Yae takes the camera and starts taking pictures with it on a family hike, and within a few days, Monacata finds his wife in a state of delirium, wandering the halls of the mansion taking pictures of seemingly nothing, and when asked what she was doing, she'd only reply, "I can see them." 9 days after Yae began taking pictures with the mysterious camera, Makoto and 3 of her friends all disappear while playing a hide-and-seek-like game. Yae and Monacata searched the mansion but found no trace of the children. 3 days after Makoto vanished, a sick, heartbroken, and utterly defeated Yae walked out to the cherry atrium and hung herself. And it becomes even more tragic when you recall Makoto was found alive in the woods. If you don't recall, it was 3 days. Yae killed herself right before her daughter was found alive. Monacata's story continues on from here, but it's later on in the game and it's tied to the story, so I'll hold off on that for now. Oh shit, we should probably check on Miku. So more of the same then. Look at this stupid cosmetology mannequin looking ass. You know, a floating head is a terrifying concept, but the execution here is just goofy as hell. It even dies stupid looking. After Miku solves a door puzzle, she's led outside to a large area with tall trees, a well, and the ghost of Mr. Takamine. After he vanishes, he drops a blue cassette. It's nice that this group had a color coordinating cassette system. Do you think they all had their own voice recorders, or did they fight over like the one?
September 12th, 3:20 p.m. I know this sounds crazy, but there's something here besides us in this mansion.
Huh. You don't say. Mr. Takamine was a 42-year-old man. 42? What? 42. 42. This game 42. This is what the game thinks a 42-year-old looks like? 21 gigawatts over here is supposed to be 42. This 65-year-old man is 42. This is like the extreme version of when adults play teenagers, only reversed, but he's fictional, so you know what? It's fine. He's fictional. I'm over it. Moving on. 42. This absolutely not 42-year-old was a best-selling novelist whose career started to hit a dry spell, so he decided to visit Himuro Mansion as part of research for a book he hoped to write. I don't think the book is going to make its submission deadline to the publishers, though. This guy is supposed to be a world-renowned best-selling novelist on his way to releasing another book, and Mifuyu's the only person who went looking for him?
The last Buddha statue is at the Shinto gate.
Miku searches where he told her and finds a hidden door at the gate's base with a headless Buddha statue wrapped in paper.
Is she the one causing this disaster? Am I the next to die?
A scrap of notebook paper written by Mr. Takamine explains the rope markings were now on all 4 of his limbs, and the only thing he could do was enter the shrine located deep in the mansion, where the ritual took place, to try to seal the Hell Gate. He was in the process of collecting the Buddha statues when he was attacked and murdered by Kide. Miku returns to the temple and places 5 Buddha statues on a mantle that unlocks a small cupboard to obtain a piece of a mirror. Tomei, or the way I'm actually supposed to be pronouncing it but didn't realize it until just now, Tomoe previously mentioned the mirror was the key to breaking the curse of Himuro Mansion.
I have to tell you. The mirror. The mirror.
When she takes the mirror piece, Miku quickly realizes she's no longer alone in the temple, and Kide shows Miku exactly what she has to look forward to.
The robe? No.
This ends the first night and leads us into the second with Demon Tag.